Every knitting project starts with one basic skill, and that is casting on your stitches. The long tail cast on has always been one of my favorites, so I'm going to walk you through step by step how to cast on using the long tail method. Let's dig right in. Welcome to Solo Stitching. I'm Lavina Perry. Let's stitch. So for this tutorial, I am using a 10-inch straight knitting needle, and it is a size 6 4¼ millimeter. You can use any size that you want. I would not recommend practicing this with too small of a needle. A medium or a large size needle will be easier so that you can really see everything that you're doing until you have this mastered, and then you can use this for any project that you like. You can use it when you're working in the round, you can use it on straight needles, whatever works for you once you have it mastered. But for practicing and learning this method, I do recommend using a straight medium to large size knitting needle. So the first thing you need to do when you're starting the long tail cast on is you need to pull out a long tail of yarn. And I'm not sure mathematically if there's a way to figure out exactly how much yarn you need for the long tail cast on, depending on how many stitches you're trying to cast onto your needle. For me, I don't usually really worry about it. I usually try to pull out more than what I think I'm going to need, and then I just cut off the extra if there's extra there. If you're really tight on yarn, you might want to take a minute and figure out if there is a mathematical way to determine exactly how much yarn you will need for this method. So I have probably about 1.5 yards of yarn pulled out for this. I need to cast on 75 stitches for a project that I am working on. So I'm going to begin by doing a slip stitch, or a slip knot I should say, not a slip stitch, a slip knot. And I'm going to put that onto my needle. So the way that I do it, so that I make sure that it's always the same, and I'm not sure that it matters in the methodology of how you do it, and I think it would still work whatever stitch was in the front. For me, I always put my long tail stitch in the front closest to me, and I put the strand that is attached to my ball of yarn in the back, and that way I make sure that it always looks the same and it always works the same. Once you have your slip knot stitch on your needle, you're going to have 2 strands coming down, and you're going to just hold both of those with your pinky and your ring finger, your last 2 fingers there. And those are where the yarn is going to feed through, so you can control your tension by how firmly you hold on to those 2 strands of yarn. So then you're going to take your index and your thumb, and you're going to separate those 2 strands of yarn. So that is what it looks like, kind of like a diamond. All right, so we're going to hold it just like this, and for this I'm going to be using my thumb and my right hand to maneuver the yarn. My index finger and the rest of my fingers, they're just going to be holding everything in place. The first step is to lift your thumb up and kind of turn your hand, and then you're going to use your needle to pick up the bottom strand of yarn and loop it over the strand that's over your index finger, and we're going to pull it through, and then you're going to use your thumb to tighten it up. And we're going to go through that several times. I know this can get super confusing when you're first learning the long tail method. Once you've learned it though, you will remember it and you'll be able to use it on any sort of a project, which is why this has been one of my favorites for years, because it has such a nice look to it on the finished edge. So let's try it again. So bring my thumb up. I'm going to grab the bottom strand. So if my needle is straight, I'm going to turn my needle like this to grab it. That'll give you a good pull on it. And then it's going to go over the strand that's over my index finger. And I'm going to pull it through this hole that I created. Okay? Let go of my thumb and pull it through. thumb up and kind of rotating my hand there, grabbing the bottom strand over the index strand and through the hole. Let go and tighten it up. Bring your thumb up, grab the bottom strand. So notice when I grab the bottom strand, it's created a hole there, okay? So it'll create a loop. So I'm going to grab the index strand and I'm going to pull it through that loop that I created and let go of my thumb. And I'm going to move my thumb to this bottom strand and I'm going to tighten the loop, tighten the stitch. Thumb up, grab the bottom strand, create the loop, grab the index strand, pull it through the loop, release my thumb, and use my thumb to tighten the stitch. I'm going to run through it a couple times without talking so that you can watch and practice along. And that's all there is to it. So the more you practice this, the more it's going to become muscle memory and something that you can do very quickly, very fluidly, and get those stitches cast onto your needle so that you can start your project. And this is, I'm going to show you what the finished edge looks like, which is the whole reason that I love this method so much. You can see how I got a little twisted there, grabbed the wrong strand. Very easy to remedy. I'll get just a few on here and then I'll show you the edge. And now all of our stitches look even and braided, and this will be a really nice finished edge look when I am done with this project. So if you have any questions or need clarification, hit me up down in the comments and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have on the long tail cast on method for knitting. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the support and helping me to grow this channel. So until next time, happy stitching.